All right, I'd like to call the regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting to order here on Thursday, August 14th, 2014. You note all the planning commissioners are present, and Commissioner Fuentes, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
So I was lucky enough this last week to go to the Grand Ole Opry, and the gentleman, which his name is escaping me, that sings the America song, Toby Keith. Yes. Anyway, it was really fabulous, and it was really fun, and I just love going to the South because they're just all so pro-America. You see the flags, you see everything. So please join me in this to deliver our anthem for the great state, you know what I mean. Sorry, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I guess that brings us to the consent calendar. Item number 1. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept as presented.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right, let's vote. All right. Item passes 4-0 with abstention.
Before we continue on to the public hearings, can we go back to public comments
Oh, yes, sorry.
to make this a clean record?
It was that great Pledge of Allegiance that it kind of got me messed up. All right, so if there's anyone from the audience who would like to address the commission on anything that's not on the agenda tonight, now's your chance. And we don't have any speaker cards, so I think, great. We will go on to the public hearing. Item number 2. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, we do. Jennifer Mansour has a brief staff report this evening.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. This project is a new building on the corner of Dimension Drive and Prison Place, which is currently a vacant site. The project includes 2 use permits for a Montessori school and a dog daycare use. This project has been split into 2 use permits for each use, so that in the future the uses will not be tied together in any way. The new building is proposed to be a total of 20,000 square feet. 15,000 square feet will be used for the school, and 5,000 square feet will be used for the dog daycare use. The school will have up to 160 students, ages 6 months through 6 years, and will have 21 employees. The school proposes to have a 7,200 square foot outdoor play area for the children. The dog daycare use would allow up to 60 dogs with 6 employees. The facility provides an overnight care option, and an employee would always be on site. The dog daycare business proposes 2,000 square foot outdoor play area for the dogs. The site is proposed to be accessed from a driveway on Prison Place or 2 driveways on Dimension, one of which is exit only. The site has a total of 47 parking stalls and includes boundary landscaping a minimum of 10 feet in depth along both street frontages. The architecture of the new building integrates the concrete panels used in the surrounding industrial buildings with wood architectural features and earth tone colors that tie in the adjacent Serrano Creek Trail and the nature park. The building was designed in accordance with the city design guidelines and features wood slat vertical columns, a decorative cornice, a wood trellis, and 2 entry architectural features that frame the entrances to the 2 tenant spaces. The site is zoned M1 and is in compliance with all the development standards and zoning regulations, including setbacks, landscaping, building height, parking, and the special regulations for animal uses. The proposed building site is located in the Dimension Business Park area. The project is directly adjacent to the Serrano Creek Trail and an existing industrial building that is occupied by a gymnastics facility. In addition, there are industrial uses along Prison Place. The project is located on a major street and does not share access or parking with any other uses. A traffic study was prepared for this project that determined that the two uses would not negatively impact the traffic on Dimension Drive. Furthermore, the project was designed with 3 driveways to facilitate the flow of on-site circulation. Staff has recommended some conditions of approval to ensure that there is safe flow of on-site circulation, requiring the school to provide all parents with information explaining the procedures for dropping off and picking up students, and requiring the school staff to direct the flow of traffic in the parking areas the first 2 weeks of every school year. The location of the outdoor yard areas were designed between the 2 buildings to minimize the impacts of the visual character of the industrial area and to buffer the noise associated with the outdoor yard areas. Accordingly, based on the project's location, traffic generation, on-site circulation, parking, and operational characteristics, the proposed project, as conditioned, would be compatible with the surrounding area. Therefore, the project meets the city's zoning code requirements, design guidelines, and is compatible with the surrounding uses, and staff is recommending the Planning Commission approve 2 separate resolutions, 1 for each use permit. The applicant is in the audience tonight, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So any questions from the commission to staff?
Okay, Jennifer, on page 7 of the packet, 3 of 18 on this report, just in the early stages of the background, talks about in 2001 the Planning Commission approved the site development for this space prior to, and that there was no expiration date, so that entitlement still is on the land. Does this take its place? Because I couldn't find any language that made that clear.
In the resolution, I do revote. We basically supersede it.
Thank you.
So in the resolution for use permit 4-144466, one of the things is to rescind and supersede the original site development permit.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, Jennifer. I noticed that at one point there's a wrought iron fence, and then, am I reading it correctly, that one of the conditions is it's a solid fence that would divide the dogs from the kids?
Right. So the fence that separates the 2 yard areas within the yard area is proposed to be a wrought iron fence. We do have a condition of approval requiring that to be a solid fence.
And the reasoning behind that was?
Just safety concerns and security of children and dogs.
Any other questions? All right, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. This is a public hearing. As part of the public hearing, the public has the right to voice their opinion, ask questions. I can speak for all of us on the commission by saying we truly appreciate any comments and questions, and to ensure the public hearing runs smoothly in accordance with approved procedures, staff and or the commission will address applicable comments or questions after everyone has the opportunity to speak. So if you'd like to speak, if you could please fill out a speaker card. I have 3, and the first one on the top is Mr. John, and I'm going to say, is it Lowe? Lowe. If you can just restate your name and city of residence, I'd appreciate that.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is John Lowe, and I live in the city of Irvine, California. I want to thank you all for considering our use, school use, and the dog daycare use for this location. We've been on a long, arduous journey to get here, looking for locations for 2.5 years, and we feel this is an excellent location and hope you would too as well. Before I give my little brief on the school, I want to take a few seconds just to absolutely thank staff for their professionalism, for their quality of their input that we've incorporated throughout their recommendations. And it's just been a pleasure to work with the staff of the City of Lake Forest, and we definitely appreciate that. And thank Jennifer and Stephanie for their hard work on this. As I said, we started this over 2.5 years ago, and in the Orange County, Southern Orange County area, Preschools are in high demand. And I think it was a godsend, a blessing for us to get this location as the new Baker Ranch is being constructed. We're excited about this school, and we really can't wait to get the doors open for the community and for the children, primarily. We hope to have absolutely, if not the highest quality, the best school in the area, and we intend on being there for a long time. Total building is 20,000 feet. We're going to use initially 15,000 feet. The team that's here, myself, the architect, the owners of the school, and our great next door neighbor, Pooch's best friend, is here as well, and we're here to answer your questions. I think staff did a very complete report. At this point, I'll turn it over to Pooch's.
Okay, so next up I have Nadia, is it Souza?
Close. Souza.
Souza, sorry. If you could just, again, restate your name and city of residence, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
My name's Nadia Souza, and I live in Costa Mesa. Good evening, everyone, and I'd like to thank you for your time for this evening, and a special thanks to Jennifer for all of your work on this project. I really appreciate it. And I'm the owner of Pooch's Best Friend. I'm founder of it, and we're a pet care service in Orange County. Our pet care services include dog training, dog walking, pet sitting, and also mobile vet tech services. This past June, we just celebrated 4 years of business and over 500 clients as of this date. Our clients are from Huntington Beach all the way down to Dana Point, and I currently have 12 team members on my team. I know that the pet care business is booming right now. Everybody pretty much has a pet, and there's a lot of competition out there, and I don't blame them. It's one of the industries that wasn't affected by the downturn in the economy. To give you a better look at that, the Americans had spent $10 billion last year on cinema, and while that is a really high number, it's dramatically low compared to what they spent on pets. Last year they spent $55.5 billion on pets, and this year it's expected to hit $60 billion. So there are a lot of competitors out there, and it's growing, but I do really feel like my team and my business is different from them. A few ways that we are is with our education, our experience, and how I search for people on my team. Before I started this business, I was in the healthcare, and I worked in the corporate world and applied my business education towards corporate world. And while I really loved what I did, when I was thankful for the education and experience it gave me, I really wanted it to apply to something I was passionate about, which is animal welfare. I've been caring for animals and doing volunteer work since I was a child, and I've had animals my whole entire life. Any animal you can imagine that's legal in Orange County, I've had. And so I just wanted to do something that I really loved. So as I've added people to my team with the demand that we've had, if you look on my website, you can see the bio on each one of them on there. And they have experience. A lot of them are med students, vet techs, dog trainers, certified vet technicians. And so they do have a great education involved with them. I also do a criminal background check before they come on board, so we are a little different. Their hard work does not go unnoticed, and if you look on my Yelp page, we are the highest rated business in Orange County with over 62 5-star reviews. So that's how we are different from competition. With our large client base, they have had a lot of requests for us to open a daycare and a boarding facility. And I have daily calls every single day and inquiries for this type of service. And after doing a lot of extensive research, I figured this is the next best step for this business. Lake Forest is a perfect location for this because most of my clients do live in this vicinity or the surrounding cities. And also, there's going to be a lot of demand for the residents of Baker Ranch. With our partnership with the Montessori, we're a perfect match for each other because we both have exceptional high-quality standards for our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I have one more speaker card for an Anthony. I'll let you pronounce your last name.
D'Agostino.
Great, thank you. If you could just restate your name and your city of residence, I'd appreciate it.
My name is Anthony D'Agostino, resident of Santa Ana, California. and I'd like to thank the chairman and the commissioners for being here this evening. I'm very proud of the design and the building that we've presented. I have worked on several child care centers within the last few years, and I've been through several planning commissions and working with several different cities, and I really think this process, working with Jennifer and the staff, has been the best one so far. So I'm really thankful for the time and the process, and look forward to building the building and designing the inside of the building and working with Bella Montessori and Pooch's best friend to make the inside as good as the outside looks. So if you have any questions about the building, the design, anything, I'm happy to answer any questions. And I also happen to be the son of the owners.
Great, good to know. Thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant?
I was just wondering why you wanted to put the wrought iron wall in, and if you're okay with the solid wall.
Separating the two spaces? Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that because I mean we wouldn't do it in a block wall, but I think we could accomplish the safety factor with a solid vinyl fence. It's only about 30 feet long, and it won't be visible from any of the streets. It's tucked in, a good 75 feet from Prism Place, so I don't think it would be visible. But I do think it would be important. The code only requires 4 inches separation for vertical members of a wrought iron fence, but there's plenty of dogs that could fit between 4 inches, and these are small children. So I agree with Jennifer that the fact that little hands, little fingers, and little doggy heads could potentially create a conflict. Also a visual conflict could arise. With small children, teachers, dogs, I think it's better to have a solid wall also to separate the two.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your comments, speakers so far. Another question.
How high would you make that fence?
6 feet.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wants to address the commission? Okay. Let's bring it back to the commission for any additional questions.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any additional questions to staff? All right, we'll start with commission comments.
When I first saw the description of the agenda item, I thought, man, do they really want to put kids and dogs in the same building? But after reading all of the steps that have been taken to keep them, close to each other yet separate, entrances are on opposite sides of the building. There's, my concerns went away relatively quickly. So I haven't seen anything here that I don't like.
I thought it was interesting to have the two of them together. I can just see little kids wanting to play with dogs. So there might be some interesting interaction between the teachers and the runners of the doggy daycare facility, I guess we can call it, which is kind of interesting. One of my first questions was, we just had one go in just up the street, but you bring up a valid point that Baker Ranch is right up the street also, and that's going to increase a substantial number of homeowners, which is going to increase a substantial number of children and a substantial number of dogs. So I think you guys are in a good business plan. My only real concern here is making sure that we take care of the dog waste so that it doesn't find its way into the adjoining natural watershed area. That's a key component. Obviously, we've got wild animals that are out there, and we want to try to mitigate any further, intrusion on the area. I guess maybe that's the way to look at that. not 100% comfortable with the wording and the conditions, but I'll talk with, we can talk about it more a little bit up here. I don't know if we can tighten that up a little bit. I don't know if it needs to be, but that's my only, little concern.
I like the project. I think it's been well thought out and well planned. I think that both of your businesses would be an asset to the city of Lake Forest. I too have concern about the outside dog area and how you take care of the animal waste and that sort of thing, because that can be an issue. I presume that you're going to landscape that with grass or something like that. Do you have any other types of things in mind other than just the grass? You're going to have plantings around the perimeter, or can you have anybody answer that question?
Well, I can answer just briefly. The outdoor yard area of the doggy daycare is artificial turf, right? It's artificial turf, so it can be washed off. There's also, through the water quality management plan, they had to have a special, I don't know all the specifics, but drain area so that none of the waste in that area would go to the storm drain or to the adjacent property, and it goes to the sewer. And it's in the corner of the property.
Okay, so the way that that's going to be constructed will have a runoff that will take it in that, and it will be captured before and then taken into the actual sewer.
Correct. The way the drainage works, our engineer has been working with their engineer on how to do that. So the outdoor area, if you look on the plans, it has it kind of in the corner with the X right there. It's basically, it goes to the sewer instead of going to any storm drain or adjacent property. So it'll drain to that area.
Okay. Will dogs be taken off-site for walking out in other areas other than the actual site here? And if so, then we need to have some discussion about the collection of dog waste if it is off-site.
Maybe we can have Nadia speak to that. We do have a condition of approval saying that requiring them to have the animal waste bags in the parking lot area,
Right.
and that they need to maintain that, and that they can't use the Nature Park and Serrano Creek Trail as part of the business.
Right.
But I'm not sure. Yeah, if Nadia can answer that question.
I can understand how that's a big issue, and I've done a lot of research on it. There's a specific type of artificial turf that's called Easyturf, and it addresses the issue of it running off. It acts as grass, so some of it absorbs into, in a urine would absorb into like the soil, but anything else, any solid waste would be immediately picked up by our team. So it's just my rules for my employees that there would be a designated area. They would make sure that they clean it up immediately, not wait until the end of the day.
Nadia, before you sit down, will you have any other services for your animals? Manicures, spas?
Well, I have gotten a few requests for that, and we are going to offer bathing only for right now, and just because you have to have separate licenses for anything else. And so right now, in case someone wants to have their dog bathed before they go home because they're playing outside all day, then they could go in there and rinse off and be bathed. And then to answer your question, as far as them walking them outside of the place, I wouldn't be doing that. They would just be in the backyard. And then also to help out with the waste, there would be specific times that they would be allowed outside, just like how children have their break sessions. The dogs would have their break sessions to go outside to relieve themselves. We also know that having the dogs on set schedules like this also kind of trains them to go when they need to go at those times that we arrange.
And is that outside area, is that, in your professional opinion, is that large enough for what you plan to do?
Yes.
And if they were to take some of that away, because let's say you sold part of your land to the county, would that still be large enough for you?
It would be, and it would also be that we would be breaking up the sessions per dog area. So like the larger dogs would have to go out at a certain time, and the smaller dogs, so it wouldn't be all 60 dogs out there at the same time.
So it's not going to be a major problem for you if you do take that 500 square feet and give it to or sell it to the county. I hope you sell it.
No, it wouldn't be.
I think that 500 square feet's on the Montessori side.
Yeah, but they have to adjust the Montessori for state standards because the kids are regulated. Dogs are not. Right?
Correct.
So you're going to lose a little bit of your property if the easement goes through.
It's a little bit of property, but it's larger than any competitors. If you look at, I've been to every single dog daycare in Orange County, and nobody has a yard. So any bit of it we're grateful for.
No.
And it does help us stand out from the competition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I have one more question too, and this is not, it's just more of a curiosity, but because I'm supporting the project both. So my daughter plays soccer and sometimes plays on artificial turf, and I've been out onto that turf, and it gets quite hot with direct sun. Do you have any cooling mechanism? Is it just pretty much going to spray it to cool it off? Is that how you would cool it on a hot day?
Good question. A lot of times, a lot of apartment complexes don't buy the specific turf that specializes in dog care. So to us, it just looks like all the same thing. But the specific brands that I've researched are designated for dogs. So it's padded instead. It doesn't get hot for their paws, and it's easy to wash off.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I do have, if I may, I do have one other concern. I don't think it's a major concern, but it was in my notes, and I realized I had missed it. It looks like the outdoor play area for the dogs, because of the way the lot lines fall, is right next to the gymnastics center. I mean, I'm not concerned about safety because I think that's been well addressed. I'm curious what the impact or potential impact on teaching sessions in the gymnastics center will be if there's a bunch of dogs playing right outside the wall. I don't know if it may be nothing. I'm just curious. I want to cover all bases. So.
Yes.
He's the owner of the gymnastics studio.
Yeah, if you just fill out a speaker form, and you can do that after, but if you just state your name, and I recognized you from
hasn't been that long.
from 6-9 months ago.
Right,
so.
right.
So just your
my
name
is
and
Rick
city.
Watson. I live in North Tustin. I own the property right next door to the proposed building site. First of all, I'm in support of it, so I'm not going to cause any problems. I'm happy to hear it. My concern just is smell and noise, and as long as they can figure out a way to do that, I have no issue at all. Montessori school obviously would work great with me, and the dog center does not bother me. So if we can address smell and noise. I don't know, you said 60 dogs, they're not going to be out there all at the same time. That's the only thing I'm concerned about.
If you don't mind, if you could just come up to the mic and speak into the mic. Thank you.
Just for safety concerns as well, I do require that there be a ratio of 1 employee to about 10 to 12 dogs. So it wouldn't even be feasible for all of them to be out there at the same time. And then each of those areas is broken down to a larger dog area versus a smaller dog area. So, and then I do understand how a lot of places are, you could smell, it doesn't seem sanitary. And I see that as instead an opportunity for me to do something different than a lot of other competitors are doing. Just having better rules about it. Don't let it sit there, pick it up immediately. And I think that's more about how I'm going to be managing my team.
That's great. Even, and especially with that trail system, it's used a lot by, we've noticed, and we actually use it too. So as long as you don't walk out our back door and think this, wow, in a kennel.
Exactly.
That's all.
I completely understand.
It's such a pretty area. Great. And noise, is there a way, I'm not a dog expert, but are we going to have just those type of dogs just yelp all day long?
Well, we are actually soundproofing, so the noise wouldn't be an issue. And then also, like I said, it's really regulating it. I've seen where kids are, it's more about children taking care of the dogs out there, and they're on their phones and not watching it. It's really just paying attention. And I'm very, very careful on who I select on my team, and they have exceptional service right now, making sure they're watching them. And I don't see them making any difference in how they operate at the daycare.
And forgive me, but on the fence on the border of the trail, so kids can't reach from the trail in and touch the dogs? Has that been designed to be? You don't want to do.
Well, that side, next to the trail is the Montessori school.
Oh, okay. The
kids don't bite.
Some do, but yeah.
Is this, okay, so, I'm with you.
Yeah, and the doggy daycare is toward prison.
To address the sound also, along the property line is a 30,
If you can come up to the mic, that'd be great.
the wall is 30 feet tall that runs the primary distance of the whole property line. That should help mitigate any sound as well.
Great.
Thank you to all three.
That was kind of new for us. We haven't had more than one talking in before like that. So, is there anyone else from the audience who wants to speak to anything? All right. So we're still back to.
Yeah. As I'm looking on page 40, and condition number 7, it talks about animal waste being picked up and disposed of immediately. It talks about maintenance efforts to include a minimum review of the parking lot and adjacent common areas for animal waste removal at midday and close of business. Immediately, if I understood the applicant, that there's, when the dogs are out there, that they'll be, that'll be addressed while they're out in the yard, so that the yard is not going to be left with any animal waste on it. And so that's the idea of what we're talking about, correct? Okay. All right. I'm good.
I had one question about the wall that borders on the parking lot. How tall is that wall?
Which wall? Sorry.
Sorry?
The wall along
Wall that's adjacent to the parking lot.
off of kind of off of Prism, that next to the Prism driveway.
Yes.
I think. Check.
I just know I used to have a dog
Yeah,
that
I
could jump an
don't-
8-foot wall and it didn't even slow him down.
Thank you. Yeah, it ranges from about 2.5 feet to 3.5 feet tall, up to the yard area. So in front of the yard area, so not enclosing the dog area. Is that the wall you're speaking of?
I'm talking about the wall that encloses the dog area.
Oh, it's 6 feet tall. It'll have a 6-foot wrought iron fence around it.
Okay.
Is that the question?
I definitely had a dog that could easily go 6 feet. Easily jump.
It's on the wrought iron.
Pointed inward.
I'm just wondering how you're going to deal with that, because I do know dogs that can easily jump 6 feet.
It's also about the people who are supervising. There's, like I said, there's going to be a couple people out there, 10 dogs per person, and we also have a temperament test before actually allowing any dogs to come on board. So if we see that it's a dog that's going to not benefit from this service, we'd have to respectfully decline them.
So they're not going to jump the wall.
Exactly.
And your dog's not allowed.
I don't have the dog anymore. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
All right. If there aren't any more questions, I'll break into my comment. I fully support this. I think it's such a unique idea. Never in a million years would I have thought a Montessori school and a dog would combine and come together, and that's what makes this really unique. I think it's exciting. It's America. We have the freedom to do things like this, and it's not. We don't have some silly law that says you can't mix dog use in a Montessori school. So I was going to say, if you want to put a yogurt shop, in that could kind of add just a little more variety. No, I'm kidding. So I fully support it, and I think this is a great project. And my only question, I just had one more, and on page 32. Item number 30, if at any time the Director of Development Services determines that on-site parking does not accommodate the project's parking demand, there's additional mitigation measures, et cetera, et cetera. you're okay with that condition? It just seems to me it's a little, I've kind of mentioned this one before, when the bridge for, help me out, applied medical, yes. I think the property owner is going to want to make sure that the parking situation isn't horrendous, and we're not putting conditions in that the lawn must be mowed, or maybe some. I think there's upkeep, but I mean there's just some things that are just. It seems like the business is going to be very incentivized to maintain order, and so I think, to me, I don't mind having code enforcement is the mechanism to enforce that, and not just kind of at any time. It just seems, again, just a little over the top for me, but that's my personal opinion.
Could I follow-up question on that?
Sure.
Is that something, Jennifer, that you added? And
This is a standard condition we've used on all the commercial recreation uses, all these types of uses that are in industrial areas, and it's kind of just a backup. We haven't had to enforce it ever since we've been using it.
We found in the past that the surrounding property owners appreciate it and gives them assurance that there's not going to be a parking problem in the area. And it as Jennifer mentioned, it's a standard condition of approval. We've placed it on many uses. We've never gone in and had a problem and had to make changes. But it's something that we use because on some of these commercial recreation, there isn't a lot of data. We don't have a set parking ratio, so we've made some assumptions on the parking. That's based upon what the applicant tells us about the class size and the hours and different things. And so this is kind of a belt and suspenders that provides assurances that the use will be able to operate there without impacting other businesses.
did we put the same on wildfire gymnastics?
Yes.
I remember the traffic study, but I don't remember the condition.
One question: if the county, if you exercise your easement rights with the county and they create that trail opening there, will that impact the traffic or the parking there?
No. What it's going to impact is the yard area for the doggy daycare.
So that's the only impact we see from that.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, with that, I'd go ahead and make a motion that we close the public hearing and approve staff's recommendation.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Let's vote. Passes 5-0. Congratulations. Welcome to the city, and we look forward to utilizing your businesses. Thanks. All right, that leads us to director's comments.
I have no comments this evening.
And the esteemed city attorney.
I have no comments tonight.
And that brings us to planning commission comments.
My only comment is to ask Mr. Richardson not to leave too quickly. I have a quick question. Other than that, no comments this evening.
No comments tonight?
Thank you, Jennifer. That was a great report. Lots of information. You did a great job. I think you did a great service for the city on putting those two together. Thank you.
Okay, this was for staff. Well, first of all, it was, like everybody else, when I saw this project, I thought, what, kids and dogs are going to go together? But I think it's a great project. I think their timing is impeccable. But question for staff: the signs that are around the city announcing the sports park and Baker Ranch and so forth, is there any feedback that's come back to staff on those?
Those signs were put up as part of a wayfinding sign program, and so that was authorized by the City Council. It was something, I believe it was Mayor Voigt's when he first took office. We worked with the BIA. Programs have been done like this in other cities, and it identifies the location of the projects, Baker Ranch, Portola Hills. The signs are set up so the panels, we can add more panels. And then they also identify city facilities that went along with the opportunity study area. So you'll see the sports park, and later the civic center will be on there as well. So we worked with the program, and I think we have a maximum of 32 signs that could be put up, because they'll change over time as projects come and go. We used to have a sign for the Whispering Hills project. We haven't received any comments that I'm aware of. The signs are small, and other cities and other areas, the signs were more prominent and more like a ladder board. And we've seen some cities in the Inland Empire where there were actually names of a builder or a project name, and ours is a much more generic proposal. So a wayfinding sign, and part of the justification behind that is that typically the builders put up a lot of, we call them stake signs or snipe signs, all over the place. So this was working together to come up with a program that would fit with the character of Lake Forest and not allow for weekend signs and, just a cluttering of signs directing people to those areas.
Okay. I would just have one comment. I think they're too small.
It's interesting. We had prototypes made, and we played with colors, and we didn't want them to be loud. I think they really blend in quite a bit.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
sometimes you go like, oh, there's one.
Because we drive by it almost before you catch it.
Right. And we played with different sizes, and we put prototypes up. And the first ones we had up, we said these are definitely too small. This was ultimately what was constructed. Not all the signs are up. Obviously, the Portola project is not up and running. The Serrano Summit project is not. So perhaps there would be modifications in the future. But sometimes, depending on the surroundings, they do tend to blend in.
Yeah.
We might want to think about that in the future.
If anybody is looking for feedback, there it is. In my opinion, they're too small. They need to be a little bit larger so they're more noticeable. And, as we have the different projects that are on there, and especially the sports park that is going to be a central theme of the city. That's going to be, the new developments will come and go, but the sports park, and so we're going to need to be doing that. So if there's any revisions, I would vote for bigger signs. Thanks.
Great. Yeah, I've seen them in Irvine and Tustin, so those are two cities I'm aware of. And with that, we're adjourned.